Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. Sorry for the delay. There is some network problem here, so the Zoom is not working properly, it seems. So, anyways, we were discussing yesterday how Narad Muni, when he went to deliver Haryashvas and Shavalashvas, and then he delivered both 10,000 sons and then 1,000 more sons who were there at the same place. They also came and they were also delivered by Narad Muni by speaking in a very, very allegorical way. Narad Muni, he made them very advanced in devotional consciousness, and all of them, they become renunciants. And hearing that, Daksha, he criticized Narad Muni a lot, and we saw the words of Daksha, how he said that Narad Muni is like a sadhu, he is a sin personified, he is devoid of all the compassion, and he is a breaker of all the friendships. Vairankara avairinam. And then at last, it is described that Narad Muni, he silently, patiently tolerated everything because he knew that Daksha is now in anger, and in angry situation, nobody hears any good suggestions. So if I give him, I allow all the anger which he has to come out, then after that he'll sober down, and then he'll repent for his misbehavior, and then he'll become a very suitable candidate to accept devotional service. But after hearing all that criticism, when Daksha, he did not come to this understanding that Narad was right, and he did not repent. So then Narad Muni, he became very sad, and he just remembered, just see the power of the offense of a great Vaishnava. Because Daksha, he offended Lord Shiva in his previous life. So the offense to a Vaishnava is carried on to a next generation also. If somebody is offensive to a Vaishnava, then he'll be having that offensive mentality even after few lifetimes. So therefore it is very important to have good consciousness, not offending Vaishnavas. So then after that, Daksha, although he became disgusted, so this is the 6th chapter we are beginning now. So Daksha, although he was disgusted with the family life, Lord Brahma, he came and he advised and instructed Daksha. And then Daksha, again, he begot children. But this time he was very cautious not to beget sons. And this time he begot 60 daughters. Because he knew Narad Muni, being a renunciant, he will not come to preach to the daughters. So therefore this Daksha, he married Asikni. He was married to Asikni, and then from her he begot 60 daughters. Out of those 60 daughters, 10 daughters were married to Yamaraj, and then 17 were married to Kashyapa Muni, 27 were married to Moon God, and 2 daughters each were married to Angira, Krishaswa, and Bhuta. And these descendants of these daughters, they filled the entire universe. So this 6th chapter just describes a list of the descendants of all the daughters of Daksha. So the 10 daughters who were married to Yamaraj, they begot children Bhanu, Lamba, Kakud, Yami, Vishwa, Sadhya, Marutavati, Muhurta, and Sankalpa and Vasu. And their sons were described, and then after describing all this, Shukdev Goswami describes the sons of Vasus. So 8 Vasus, they also got married, and they begot sons, and the list is given how Drona, one of the 8 Vasus, got married to Abhimati and begot Harsha, Shoka, Bhaya, and others. So in this way all the descendants are described. Then after that, the descendants, the progeny of the wives who were married to Bhuta, Angira, Krishaswa, and Kashyapa Muni, they are described. So one of the daughter of Daksha was Sarupa. She was married to Bhuta and begot 10 million Rudras, of which the 11 principal Rudras were Raivata, Aja, Bhava, Bhima, Vama, Ugra, Vishakapi, Ajaykapat, Ahirbhradan, Bahurupa, and Mahan. In this way, all the various descendants are described. And then interestingly, the important thing and the very main thing to note is the descendants of Kashyapa Muni. So Kashyapa Muni, he was given the 17 daughters of Daksha. Out of those, 4 wives were Patangi, Yamini, Vinata and Kadru. So Patangi, she begot all kinds of birds from Kashyapa Muni. Yamini, she was the owner of all types of insects. And Vinata is the lady, the daughter who begot Garuda. Vainateyascha Pakshinam. It comes in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying, of all the birds, I am Vainateya. Vainateya means son of Vinata. That is Garuda. So this Garuda, he became the order carrier. He became the carrier of Lord Vishnu. And then also she begot Aruna. Aruna was the driver of sun god. And then from Kadru, Kashyapa Muni begot all types of serpents, including Kaliya. So we know the story of the fight between Kaliya and Garuda, how it happened. There is a whole story when one time Vinata and Kadru, they had a bet. So Kadru said the horses of sun god, they have a black tail. And Vinata said, no, they have a white tail. So both of them, they had a bet. And it was decided that if whoever will win, other person will serve her for whole life. So Kadru's son, Kaliya, she came to know this. And he came to know this. And he did not want his mother to lose the bet. So what he did, Kaliya, he went with his mystic power, he covered the tail of the horses of sun god, and it appeared that the tail of the sun god's horses are black, and therefore in this way Vinata, she became the servant of Kadru, and in this way she was serving Kadru for a long time. Then one day Garuda, he realized what was the actual thing, and then he went to Kadru and he told that, oh mother, I am seeing that my mother is serving you and I'm not so happy. What will you take, to release my mother from this, condition? So Kadru said, okay, if you want your mother to be free, please get me Amrita, nectar from heaven, from Indra. So then Garuda, he was so very powerful. He went to heaven and he snatched away all the nectar from Indra. So Indra, he told, why are you doing this? So Garuda told the whole story. And Indra said, okay, but if you give all that to serpents, they'll become more powerful and they'll trouble all the creatures. So then Garuda said, okay, I'll give this nectar to my stepmother Kadru, and then you can snatch it away from her. So Indra said, you will not take again from me? So he said, no, I'll not take again from you. So then this whole thing was done, and then Garuda, he brought nectar from heaven, and it said that while coming back, he put this nectar on the bank of Yamuna. There was a Kadamba tree. And on that he put some nectar, and that's why the nectar, few drops fell on that tree. And when Krishna was there in the Kaliya Leela, this Kadamba tree, there was only this Kadamba tree which was living, because few drops of nectar had fallen on this tree. So then ultimately Garuda, he brought this nectar and gave to Kadru, but Indra again came and snatched this nectar from the hands of Kadru. And then this Vinata was released. Later, Garuda, he came to know that this Kaliya was the person who did all the mischief. So from that time onwards, Garuda was very, very envious of Kaliya, because he was the one who was the cause of all the pain which his mother had to go through. So that is the story of Vinata and Kadru, the 2 wives. And then after that, the further progenies of the Kashyapa wives are described. Before that, it is described that the moon god, who was married to 27 daughters of Kashyapa Muni, all of them were called Kritikas. But this moon god, he was attached to one of the wives called Rohini. And seeing her partiality to this one wife, one daughter, Daksha, he was very, very angry. So he cursed moon god that you will decay. And that's why there is a gradual decrease in the size of the moon. But then somehow, and because of that only, moon god could not beget any children. And then later Daksha was pacified, and then he gave benediction, okay, you will increase, regain your portion of light, and then you will decrease. So that is the waxing and waning of the moon. And then after that, it is described how Kashyapa, he begot various species of life from the further wives of from his further wives. So Timi, one of his wives, gave birth to all the aquatics. Sarama gave birth to all the ferocious animals like tigers and lion, and Surabhi was another daughter of Daksha. Kashyapa begot all the cows and the bulls and all the other animals. Then Tamra, one of the wives, begot eagles, vulture, and all the other birds of prey. Another daughter, Muni, she begot all the apsaras. Then Krodhavasha, another daughter of Daksha, begot all the serpents, known as Dandashuka. And then Ila begot all the various creepers. Then Surasa begot all the Rakshasas. Then Arishta begot all the Gandharvas. And Kashta gave birth to all the animals whose hoofs are not split, that is horses. Example, horses, So this is a picture of BBT where it is described all the living entities, all the various species coming from various daughters of Daksha. So then after that, Shukdev Goswami describes the further descendants of Kashyapa. Kashyapa married another daughter, Danu, and from her he begot 61 sons, of whom 18 were prominent, and the names are given, and who all came in the further dynasty, it is described. So few interesting things to note here is Viprachitti, he married Simhika, and he begot 101 sons, 1 Rahu and 100 Ketus. So Rahu and Ketu, they are the sons of Viprachitti and Simhika, and they became all the planets. And then another person, Vaishwanar, he married 4 daughters, Upadanavi, Hayashirsha, Puloma, and Kalaka. And from them, one of them begot from Puloma and Kalaka, they married Kashyapa, and they begot 60,000 sons, which are called Nivata Kavachas. And the story we know that when Arjuna, he went to heaven, he destroyed all these 60,000 Nivata Kavachas. They are the same Nivata Kavachas. And then after that, Shukdev Goswami describes the further descendants of Kashyapa Muni. Kashyapa Muni, he married Aditi also, and from her he begot 12 Adityas. Of these 12 Adityas, the 4 Adityas are described here, and further would be described in the 18th chapter of the 6th canto. So in this, the interesting thing to note is about Twashta. So one of the sons of Kashyapa and Aditi was Twashta, and Twashta, he married daughter of the Daityas, Rachana, and from her Twashta begot Vishwarupa. So then in the end of this 6th chapter, Shukdev Goswami says that the demigods, they accepted Vishwarupa on the request of their guru. And there it is described that although Vishwarupa was the son of a Twashta from a daughter of demon, but still the demigods, they accepted him as their priest. And this was done because Brahmaji had instructed all the devatas to do this. So after hearing this, and then it is described that because the devatas, they disrespected Brihaspati, Brihaspati left them. So therefore then Brahmaji instructed all the devatas to go to Vishwarupa. So after hearing this, this is the end of the 6th chapter. So now it is described that Parikshit Maharaj, who is always very, very attentive. So he asks question, how is it that demigods, they offended their own Guru Brihaspati? So Parikshit Maharaj asks, why did all the devatas headed by Indra, they disrespect Brihaspati? And why Brihaspati rejected them? What was the offense they did to their Guru? So then after this, Shukadeva Goswami starts replying that Indra was so very proud, because he was always surrounded by all the various denizens of heaven. And he was Parishrita. It is described, Parishrita means he was Madhullangit Satpataha. Indrastu Tribhuvan Aishwarya Madhullangit Satpataha. So Tribhuvan Aishwarya. So Indra had the wealth of all the universe. Tribhuvan Aishwarya. So that is heavenly wealth. That is heavenly opulence. And because of that, Madhullangit Satpataha. Because of that, Ullanghit Satpatha. He transgressed the laws of etiquette. How he transgressed the laws? Because Indra, he was seated on a very beautiful royal golden throne. He was surrounded by all his associates. He was Parishrita. Shukadeva Goswami uses the word Parishritaha. Parishrita means he was always surrounded by the associates. All the Maruts, Vasus, Rudras, Aditya, Ribus, Shivadeva, Sadhya, Ashwini Kumara, everybody was there. And they were always glorifying, Stuyamanaha. So first of all, surrounded by all these very great devatas, glorified by them, Stuyamanaha, praised by Siddhas, Charanas, Vidyadhara, Apsara, Kinnara. Everybody is glorifying Indra. And they were Nishevyamanaha. So first of all, they surrounded Indra, they glorified Indra, and Nishevyamanaha. They were humbly serving Indra. Indra was having a white umbrella over his head, and he was very, very effulgent. Indra is not an ordinary personality. He is a very, very great personality. So first thing to be noted here is, when we are discussing various things about Indra, what are the mistakes Indra did? We should know that Indra is a very great personality. When we hear some mistakes which are committed by great personalities, we should not criticize them. We should not think, Indra is so fallen. This much etiquette I also have, How can he transgress this basic etiquette? When all these great personalities are described in Bhagavatam, we should know that they are there to give us lessons. We should learn lessons from these great personalities. We should not criticize them. That is the purpose of this, all the description of the great souls which are there in the material world, in heaven also. So therefore, when this Indra, he is surrounded by all the great personalities, glorified, always ready to serve Indra. Indras Tribhuvan Aishwarya Madhullangita Satpathaha Stuyamana Nishevyamana Parishritaha. So these are the three things. Anybody in this world, if he gets any of these things, surrounded by people, if somebody is glorifying you and somebody is ready to serve you, then naturally mind will become intoxicated. There are various types of blindness. One is Janmandha, blind by birth. Other is Mohandha, blinded by illusion. Other is Kamandha, blinded by lust. Other is Dhanandha, blinded by the wealth. So Indra had all the wealth of all the universe, and he was completely mad because of the illusion that I am the controller. So therefore, he could not understand, and he did not get up when Brihaspati was there in the assembly, because he thought, Brihaspati comes every day. Prabhupada writes that Brihaspati, he would come every day to give guidance and to give blessings to Indra. So Indra, he took it casually. Familiarity breeds contempt. Ati parichayat avagya. So just like it is, Prabhupada gives the example in the forest of sandalwood. The lady who is staying in the forest of sandalwood just to get heat in the cold days, she burns the sandalwood to get heat. And we know sandalwood is so very costly. But for her, it is like available everywhere. So for Indra, association of Brihaspati was like every day he would come. So therefore, he could not appreciate and he could not acknowledge the presence of Brihaspati. That's how many times devotees also are. Many times we are so very surrounded by devotees always that we don't realize the importance of the devotees in our lives. And we end up criticizing, or we end up not respecting devotees properly. So therefore, Indra, who was completely glorified, always surrounded by the people who would make all the good offerings to Indra, he was intoxicated because of this. And Brihaspati, as soon as he saw, because Indra, he did not even get up from his seat. He did not even look at Brihaspati this day. So he was sitting on a very royal throne, elevated throne. He did not even get up. He did not even offer a seat to Brihaspati. He did not even said a word in welcome. And Indra, when he did this, Brihaspati, he could realize, he could sense, because Brihaspati, his qualities are also described. He was Kavi, he was the most learned of all the Brahmanas, and he was a very, very powerful person. He knew the mind of Indra, and therefore he immediately left from that place. He could realize that Indra is puffed up with pride. Shri Madandha, Mada Unlanghita Satpathaha. He is completely intoxicated because of the pride. So immediately Brihaspati left that place. An interesting thing is, as soon as Brihaspati left this place, Indra, he immediately realized that I have done a great offense. So just by this reaction, we should know that although Indra is committing offenses, but by mercy of the Lord, because Krishna knows that he is my devotee, immediately he gives Indra intelligence that you have done a great blunder. By just that sense, we can understand that Krishna is very, very merciful to his devotees. Even if somebody does something wrong, Krishna is there to give him guidance. Krishna is there to give him right type of intelligence. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. And all these great devotees, all these great devatas, they are very, very powerful devotees and very great devotees of the Lord. That's why they are there in this position. So therefore, we should not ever think that these devatas, they are like very karma mishra bhaktas. Practically, for that matter, we are also karma mishra bhaktas. We are also not pure devotees. But all these devatas who are doing the administrative work of the universe, that is their service. And because of that service, they will go back to spiritual world after this lifetime. So therefore, we should be very careful not to offend the Vaishnavas, not to offend the devatas. They are great devotees of the Lord. That's why, Indra is so very powerful that whenever he performs yajna, Lord Vishnu himself comes. We are praying, we are doing all our chanting, everything since so many years. Have any of us, saw, darshan of Lord? No. Whenever Indra, he does sacrifice, Lord comes himself. So therefore, just by this action, that Indra immediately realized that I have disrespected my Guru. And then he condemned himself in his whole assembly of the heaven. He started saying, Indra, he said, oh, I am so very proud. He started regretting. He started condemning himself. He said, what a regrettable act I have done. Asadhu kritam. I have done a most regrettable act because of the lack of my intelligence. Adabra buddhina. My intelligence was completely bewildered. That's why I have done such a great sinful act. I had become proud because of my opulences. Aishwarya mattena. Because of the pride, I could not respect my spiritual teacher. And therefore, I am so very fallen. Then he says, which learned person will accept the opulence of a king of a heaven? If he comes to know that the king of heaven becomes intoxicated and maddened by the opulences, And he says, I have developed a demoniac mentality. This mentality of not respecting spiritual teacher, it is a demoniac mentality. And therefore, I am so very condemned. And then he says, actually, one who says that the person who is situated on the royal throne of Brahma should not rise to show respect to the superiors, he is actually doing adharma. He does not know what is dharma. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that, in some Niti Shastra, some Nyaya Shastra, it is said that people who are on the level of king, they do not have to get up when somebody comes. But that is, if somebody is telling that, that is a wrong thing. Everybody should get up if some superior person comes. Prabhupada gives the example of Krishna, he himself, he got up when Narad Muni came. When Narad Muni came to meet Krishna, who was acting as a grihastha, he got up and he gave his own throne, his own seat to Narad Muni, washed the feet of Narad Muni. And we see, even if somebody is not exalted like Narad Muni, we see in the pastime of Rup Sanatana Goswami, when they stopped going to the royal assembly, Nawab Hussain Shah, he himself came and he to inquire about the health of Rup Sanatan. And he saw, as soon as he entered the assembly of Rup and Sanatan Goswami, he saw that, oh, these people, they are all well and they are hearing Bhagavatam. Rup Sanatan Goswami immediately got up. They showed all the respects. To whom? A Malecha, a Yavana, a meat eater. Why? Because he was in the position of a king. So any person, if he is in a higher position, he should be respected. And that does not matter whoever he is. And Prabhupada writes, anybody, who is not following this principle, he is condemned. And then Indra says that, those people who are ignorant leaders, they do not set right example. They are actually misleading their followers. And actually they are on the boat which is made up of stone. Ashma Plava. Ashma Plava means stone, which is boat which is made up of stone. And this boat which is made up of stone will drown the leader also and the persons who are following this leader also. So therefore, he says, now I have realized my mistake. I'll bow down to Brihaspati. I'll go and I'll beg forgiveness. I'll touch my head to the feet of Brihaspati and I will beg forgiveness from him. And he says, I'll try to satisfy him. He is the spiritual teacher of all the devatas. He has deep knowledge. He is Agadha Dhishnam. He has deep knowledge. He will forgive me. But, as Indra was thinking like this, Brihaspati, he could understand. He could read the minds of everybody. So he could understand the mind of Indra. He had left the palace and assembly of Indra. He had gone to his home. He disappeared from that place. He disappeared from his home. And Indra, he was searching. He employed all his soldiers, all the devatas. They are searching for Brihaspati, but they could not find Brihaspati. And because of this, Indra became so very sad and morose, and he was not having any peace of mind. And then, as soon as the demigods, the demons, they realized that Indra has offended Brihaspati, their spiritual teacher. The demigods, they approached the demons, they approached Shukracharya. And Shukracharya, he gave all the instructions to the demons, and these demons, they attacked Indra and all the devatas. And they were fighting with all the devatas in a very fierce way because of the offense which Indra had committed to their spiritual master. They had become weak. All the devatas, they had become weak. And there was a huge fight which started between devatas and the demons. And although generally whenever there is a fight between devata and demons, the devatas would be victorious. But this time, the demons, they became very, very powerful. They started attacking all the demigods, and they injured all their heads, arms, and they were crying, and they fled everywhere. So then after that, after being defeated from all the demons attacks, all the devatas, they approached Lord Brahma, and they offered their respects to Lord Brahma, and then they started offering prayers. So the supremely powerful Brahma, when he saw that devatas, they are completely afflicted by the attack of the demons, he pacified all the devatas, and out of his mercy he spoke to the devatas. He said, because of your material opulence, because of your madness, you have criticized and offended your spiritual teacher. Brihaspati, he is a self-controlled Brahmana. He is a supreme sage. He is the knower of Supreme Brahman. He is a great devotee of the Lord. You have offended him. And now the consequence is, due to this misbehavior, you have now been defeated by all the demons. Although you have defeated them earlier many times, but now they have become very, very powerful. And therefore, now the demons, they realize that Shukracharya, if we serve our spiritual teacher, we will become very, very powerful. And they did it with all the faith, Aradhya Bhaktitaha. So Shukdev Goswami says that Aradhya Bhaktitaha. By worshipping their spiritual teacher, the demons, they had become very, very powerful. I'm just receiving an important call. Just give me 1 minute. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I may have to take few calls in between. I'm expecting some important calls. So then, all the demons, because they worship their spiritual teacher very nicely with all the devotion, they became very, very powerful. And Brahmaji is saying, with their power, now they can seize even my abode. That's how they became powerful. And therefore, hearing this, the devatas, they became very, very fearful. So to pacify the devatas, the Brahmaji says, okay, no problem, because you have always served the Brahmanas, you have always served the cows, and you have always served Lord Govinda. Therefore, there will be no misfortune unto you. Don't worry about that. So then Brahmaji says, accept Vishwarup as your guru. Because Vishwarup, who is the son of Twashta, he is a very, very powerful Brahmana. So Brahmaji is saying that Vishwarup, who is a very, very powerful Brahmana, he is son of Twashta, he'll be pleased by your worship, and he will give you all protection. He will fulfill all your desires, provided, Brahmaji wants Indra, provided you tolerate his inclination to his maternal cousins or demons. Because we discussed Twashta, he married Rachana, who was the daughter of the demons. So, and this Vishwarupa, although he was a very qualified, learned Brahmana, he has relationship with both the Devatas also and the demons also. From his father's side, he is connected to the Devatas. From the mother's side, he is connected to the demons. So Brahmaji says, please be careful, don't offend Vishwarupa. So then after this conversation between the Brahma and all the Devatas, Brahmaji, the Indra and all the Devatas, they go to Vishwarupa. And Vishwarupa, and now the Devatas, they offer their prayers to Vishwarupa. Although Indra is in a position of the uncle of Vishwarupa, elder, but still now he is ready to accept Vishwarupa as his spiritual master. So now the demigods, they are telling to Vishwarupa, may all your desire, or may there be all good fortune unto you. We have come to your ashram as guests. And although, we are like your parents, but now we have come to take shelter of you. So it is a duty of a son to give mercy to the, parents. And then they say that this is the highest duty of a son actually, to serve his parents. And then he says that, then the Devatas, they say that, one should respect the Acharya, because the Acharya is a personification of all the Vedas. One should give all the respect to father because he is a personification of Brahma. One should give all the respect to brothers because they are personification of Indra. And one should respect a mother because mother is a personification of earth. One should give all the respect to sisters as they are the personification of mercy of the Lord. And uninvited guests, they are dharma. They are personification of dharma. So therefore, an uninvited guest should be respected always. And then an invited guest is a personification of Agni. So therefore, you should respect invited guests also. And then they say that all the living entities, they are the personification of Lord Vishnu. So they should also be respected. So then after saying all this, the demigods, they say, please, we pray that you relieve our distress. We have been defeated by our enemies and we have come to surrender unto you. You can relieve us of our distress by the strength of your austerities. You are so very powerful. So therefore, we accept you as your guru. So Prabhupada writes that although this Vishwarupa was younger than all the Devatas, but still the Devatas, they accepted him as their spiritual teacher. So the age does not matter. There is a Vayovriddha and there is a Jnanavriddha. The person may be elderly in age, but if the person is elderly in knowledge, then he can be accepted as a spiritual teacher. Kiba Vipra Kibanyasi Shudra Kene Noy, Jai Krishna Tattveta, Sai Guru Hai. So it is described that if a person is born in a lower class family, even in the family of Shudra, but if he is a devotee of the Lord, Krishna Tattveta, he can be accepted as a spiritual teacher. So therefore, they also say that, that Vishwarup may say, but I am younger than you. How will you worship me? You are accepting me as your guru, but how will you worship me because I am younger than you? Devatas, they say that, age is no consideration. Young elder person can also offer obeisances to a younger person if he is advanced in chanting the Vedic mantras, or if he is advanced in the process of devotional service. Hearing all these things, Vishwarupa, he became very happy and pleased, and he started speaking to all the Devatas. Now Vishwarupa says, okay, I agree to become your spiritual master for my own benefit, because you are my superiors. I cannot refuse your request because I am actually your disciple and I cannot refuse this order of yours. And you are commanders of the universe. You are all great leaders, great administrators of the universe. So I will follow your request. And then he says that actually, if somebody takes to priesthood and he just interested in maintaining his body, that priesthood is condemned. So therefore, generally, a Brahmana, when he takes to the profession of priesthood, there are 6 things which a Brahmana does. Pathan, Pathan, Yajan, Yajan, Dan, Pratigraha. So in these 6 things, Yajan and Yajan, doing sacrifice and helping others do sacrifice. In this, one has to accept a Yajman. And it is described, Prabhupada writes there, that the priest has to take the karma of all the karma of the Yajman. So therefore, the priest, he loses all his all his pious activities by becoming a Yajman. Prabhupada was once very sick. So somebody asked Prabhupada, we have heard that pure devotees, they are directly under the control of Krishna. Then how come you are falling sick? So Prabhupada said, because my disciples are not following the regulative principles properly. And that's why I am suffering because of their sinful reactions. One time, one of the leaders, one of the sannyasis in our movement, he was giving a diksha. So some of the counselors, they came and they told Maharaj, we have heard that a spiritual master takes the sin of his disciples. So we have decided, because we are recommending all these people for initiation, we will also take some of the karma of these people whom we are recommending. So this spiritual master said, you will die if you do it. So that is the grave situation spiritual master is in. He has to accept all the sins of the disciples. So therefore, it is a duty of a disciple not to do the same sinful activity again and become purified. So therefore, here Vishwarup is saying, although it is a condemned profession, priesthood is a condemned profession, because one has to take all the sinful reactions of the Yajman or disciple. But still he says, I cannot refuse your request. I'll agree to be your priest. I shall fulfill all your requests. I'll dedicate my life and position to fulfill your request. So then Vishwarupa, he becomes the priest, and he does all the required activities with faith, with enthusiasm, and with attention. So Vishwarup, when he accepted to become the priest of Indra, he did it with all attention and enthusiasm. He did not do it in a superficial way. So therefore, if we are getting into something, we first of all, we have to see, okay, am I getting into some very, very important business? Just like coming to Krishna consciousness, it is a very, very serious business. After getting into it, we cannot just remain superficial. We have heard, Prabhupada would quote Jesus, either you be hot or cold. If you are lukewarm, I spit at you. So therefore, by coming to Krishna consciousness, we have accepted a very, very serious responsibility. So as Vishwarup, he took it with all the enthusiasm and all the attention. We have to take to this process of Krishna consciousness with all the sincerity and all the enthusiasm. We discussed in the Narad Muni's pastime how he, when he was a small child, how he was so very, serious in serving all the Bhaktivedantists. And he had so many qualities. Tasya me anuraktasya prashritasya hatainashaha shraddhadanasya dantasya shraddhadanasya balasya dantasya anucharasya cha. So Narad Muni said, I had 6 qualities. Anurakta, I was attached to these devotees. Prashritasya, I was obedient servant. Hatainashaha, I was free from sinful activities. Shraddhadanasya, I was faithful towards them. Dantasya, I was sense controlled. And anucharasya, I was a sincere follower. So these are the qualities we have to develop. And then after this, Vishwarupa, he employed a Narayana Kavacha. What is this Narayana Kavacha? This is a protective prayer which Vishwarup, put on Indra and all the Devatas. And because of this Narayana Kavacha, Vishwarup, he took away all the opulence of the demons and gave to Indra. Although demons, they were protected by the knowledge of Shukracharya, but Vishwarup was so very powerful, he took away all the opulence of the demons and he gave all the opulence to Indra. And this Vishwarup, he taught this Narayana Kavacha, and Indra, he acquired all his military strength, all his power, his kingdom and everything. And then after this, this is the end of the 7th chapter. So hearing this, Parikshit Maharaj, he asks Shukdev Goswami. He says, please describe me about that Narayana Kavacha. What is that Narayana Kavacha which Vishwarup told to Indra? So in response to that, Shukdev Goswami starts a description of Narayana Kavacha. He describes that in this Narayana Kavacha, there are various preliminary procedures which one has to do, purifying the various parts of the body, and there are so many nyasas, anganyas, karanyas, and nyas for the hearts and the other limbs. And then there is ahangrahopasana, in which a worshipper considers himself as qualitatively same as the Supreme Lord. That is not an impersonal worship. Just like qualitatively we are same with the Lord. And then after this, there is a protection. There is all these mantras. There are series of mantras. All these beautiful mantras, they can be chanted. They are actually a kavacha. They are actually a protection. So in this mantras, first of all, Shukdev Goswami describes that Vishwarup, he chanted mantra for the protection by various incarnations. He invoked all the various incarnations, and before that, he says that may the Lord, who is seated on the back of Garuda, and he has 8 hands, as you can see in this picture. He's seated on the back of Garuda with 8 hands and with 8 qualities, Ashtasiddhis. In this 8 hands, he is holding conch, disc, sword, shield, club, arrow, bow, and a noose. That Lord may protect me from all the sides. So this is the beginning prayer. After general protection, now, every limb of the body is protected by chanting various mantras. First of all, he invokes the various avatars for protection. He says, let Lord Matsya protect me in water and from fierce animals, and that are associates of Varuna. Let Lord Vamanadev, he protect me on the land. May Vishwakarma or Vishwarupa or Trivikrama protect me in the sky. May Lord Narsimhadev, who came to protect the Prahlad, he may protect me in difficult places like forest and all the battlefields. May Lord Varahadev protect me on the streets. Parshuram, who destroyed this whole Kshatriya race for 21 times, he may protect me on the top of the mountains. Ramachandra, may he protect me in foreign countries. And then he describes how Lord Narayan, may he protect me from unnecessarily following all the false religious systems. In this way, all the various avatars of the Lord, their protection is described. Nara, Dattatreya, Kapila, Sanat Kumar, he says, may Lord Sanat Kumar protect me from all the lusty desires. And may Lord Dhanvantari, he protect me from all the undesirable eatables and physical illness. So after glorifying, and then in the end, Buddha and Kalki are also described. May Lord Buddha, because Lord Buddha, he appeared to protect the principles of religion. When all the Vedic principles were violated and all the Brahmanas, they started becoming violent. So Lord Buddha, he came and he actually saved the Vedic principles by removing the Vedas so that the Vedic principles cannot be destroyed. May that Supreme Lord Buddha, who actively opposed the Vedic, all the things which were opposed to the Vedic principles, may protect me. And then Lord Kalki also. Then after that, it is described that in the Vedic calculation, there are not 12 or 24 hours, So day and night are divided into 30 ghatikas, and each day and night they are divided into 6 parts consisting of 5 ghatakas each. So there are 12 ghatakas in a day. So in every part of the day, every ghataka of the day, one avatar of the Lord, he is praying for protection by that. So may Lord Keshava, who has Gada, protect me on the first part, Prataha, and Govinda in the second part, Asangavaha, and Narayana, Vishnu, Madhusudana, Madhava, Rishikesha, Padmanabha. And in this way, all the 12 parts of the day, one is desiring protection. Then after that, he prays for the protection by the various weapons of the Lord. May the Sudarshana, who is set into motion by the Lord and is wandering in all the directions with all the sharp edges, he may burn all my enemies to ashes. Just as the fire burns a dry grass to ash, may that supreme Sudarshana protect me. May that club, which produces sparks of fire as powerful as thunderbolts, may destroy all my enemies to ashes. So I'll just take one. So yeah. So in this way, then he is praying to Conch or Panchajanya. So this conch fills the air with fearful sound. When it is described in the first canto, we have heard, when Krishna entered Dwaraka from Mathura, he blew his conch. That conch, which creates fear in the hearts of the enemies, creates joy and happiness in the hearts of devotees. Rajmarge gate Krishne Dwarakayam kulastriyah harmyani aruruhur viprata ikshana mahotsavaha. When all the residents of Dwaraka, they realized that, oh, now Krishna has come, they became so very happy and jubilant. All the ladies, they climbed on the palace tops to take darshan of the Lord. All the residents, they came and they showered their beautiful respects and the flowers on the Supreme Lord. So therefore that conch, which creates such a fearful sound, may drive away all the Yatudhana, Pramatha, Prachetas, Pretas, Matris, Pishachas, and all the Brahma Rakshasas. The Lord has also carries a sword, a Sivara. May that sword cut all the soldiers, chindi, to pieces. And then the shield which the Lord is carrying, which is marked with 100 brilliant moon-like circles, may cover the eyes of sinful enemies and pluck out their sinful eyes. Then after describing this, the other parts of the Lord is glorified. May the glorification of Lord's name, protect me from all the bad influences of the meteors and the envious people. May Garuda protect me from all the dangerous conditions. May Lord Vishwaksena protect me from all the miseries. And similarly, the Lord's name, form, carriers, weapons, and his associates may protect my intelligence. In this way, all the various things, various energies of the Lord and attributes of the Lord, they are described. And in the end, this power of Narayan Kavacha is described. What is this power of Narayan Kavacha? Whoever wears this Narayan Kavacha, one will be able to conquer all the enemies. Anybody who is seen and touched by this Narayan Kavacha will be immediately freed from all the fears and the dangers. And there will be no disturbance and the danger which will be caused by government, plunderers, evil demons, or disease. And then Vishwarupa gives an example how powerful this Narayan Kavacha is. In the past, there was a Brahmana called Kaushika. So this Kaushik Brahmana, he used this Narayan Kavacha, and he gave up his body while chanting this Narayan Kavacha. And the body was lying in that place. Chitraratha, after some time, he was passing by in his plane, surrounded by all the Apsaras. When he crossed this place where the bones of this Brahmana was there, the bones were so very powerful that this Chitraratha was forced to fall from the sky, headward. And therefore he was struck with wonder what happened, how I fell. So then he was ordered by rishis called Valikilyas. So they described what is the secret behind it. So Chitraratha, he collected all the bones of this Brahmana Kaushik and put it in the Saraswati river, and then he went to his place. So after describing this, Shukdeva Goswami says, one who employs this armor, one who chants this whole mantra, or one hears about it with faith, immediately he'll be free from all the dangers and he'll become worshipable by all the living entities. Indra, after receiving this prayer, this Narayana Kavacha, he defeated all the demons and he conquered and attained his position back. He enjoyed all the opulences of the three worlds. So this is the end of the 8th chapter. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.